নানা ধরনের দৌড়াদৌড়ির মধ্যে থাকি। আমি 2 সপ্তাহ ছুটিতে ছিলাম, তোমাদের 2 সপ্তাহ আমি নিতে পারিনি, 2 সপ্তাহ ছুটিতে ছিলাম। পরের 1 সপ্তাহ মধ্যে বন্ধ না কি জানি না, হ্যাঁ মিটিং ছিল ডিপার্টমেন্টের বোর্ড অফ স্টাডিজ 11টায় নিতে পারি নাই। এনিওয়ে আজকে নেই, দেখি আরেকটা ক্লাস নিলে হয়তো আমার শেষ হয়ে যাবে। সার্ভে অফ পেস্ট, এটা তোমাদের একটা সিলেবাসের পার্ট। ইনসেক্ট সার্ভে, হোয়াট ইজ সার্ভে? The survey is an official procedure conducted over a defined period to determine the characteristics of a pest population or to determine which species occur in an area. So, survey, this is an official procedure which is conducted over a certain period of time. Say, for example, if you want to make a survey from January to July or July to December or whatever, March to July, this is the fixed period, this is the defined period. For what? To determine the characteristics of a pest population. Certain pest, if you target, say for example, rice bug, if you target it, characteristics of the population means what about their adults, what about their names, what about the eggs, and how they are fluctuating, etc., etc. Or to determine which species occur in an area. It may be when it is more than one species. When if you target more than one species, then how many species even? It may be a question. How many species of insect present in a crop pest? Say for example, if we consider the rice crop, how many species right now or for a certain period of time present in that particular rice field? To take the data all about this in an official procedure is the survey of insect pest. Clear? Clear কিনা জিনিসটা তোমাদের কাছে? বুঝতে পারছো? তোমরা কি বুঝতে পারছো বিষয়টা?
জি স্যার।
আচ্ছা, একটু মাঝে মাঝে কথা বলে বাবা, নাহলে তো বোঝা যাবে না। Now the objectives of the survey or importance of the survey. Why we will do survey, insect survey? A survey may be carried out to study the distribution of a pest. Distribution means, say for example, if you consider the rice stem borer, how they are distributed. They are randomly distributed or clump distributed or normally distributed or scatteredly distributed, whatever. You can know the distribution of the pest. Or it may involve a study of both distribution and abundance of the pest species. Distribution and abundance. Distribution means how they are organized. Abundance of the pest species means how many species present and where. Say for example, in a big field, all the species may not present equally. In some areas, some species may be densely present, but in other areas they are sparsely present. So abundance of the species also is known by the survey. The main aim of the distribution survey is to locate and the map geographical distribution of species. By surveying, we can also know the distribution, but if we want to make a map of survey, how we can do it? We can show some like the other things in a map. Say for example, location of the rivers, forest, animals, fishes, marshlands, etc., etc. We can show in a map. Similarly, we can show the distribution of the insects in a map. And if we prepare a map and if we show the different locations, geographical locations with the distribution of different species, we have to do the survey. This may be used to assess the pest status of a particular insect. Pest status means whether this pest is major pest or minor pest, and how we can define the major and minor pest based on their incidence and losses caused by the incidence of that particular species. Say for example, if we consider rice stem borer, this is a major pest, but if we consider rice leaf roller, this is a minor pest, because their incidence and the damage caused by the insects is more of in case of stem borer, but in case of leaf roller, it is very, very less. So the spread of an introduced species, spread, new species, invasive species. For invasive species, we can know the spread, how long they are distributed. Say for example, for last 3 years, we have a new species from the South Africa or USA This is called fall armyworm of the maize. Fall armyworm of maize. But in all 64 districts, still it is not found. In some cases, it is not present. But in some areas, this is highly present. So spread of this species in some district or in some areas of Bangladesh is more than the other areas. Or the spread of a mobile endemic pest that is existing its range. Mobile endemic pest means this pest which is remaining in our country, but this is moving from one area to another area, from one district to another district, from one region to another region. And now the question is how long this pest is distributed or extended? How? How long? We can know it by surveying. Number three, surveys measuring both the distribution and the abundance of a pest can be used to assess the relative level of pest infestation and pest migration. So, survey allows us to know the distribution and abundance of the pest species by which we can assess the relative pest infestation. Because based on the number of the insect pest, infestation is related. So how much infestation is there? It is dependent on the number and distribution of the insect pest. And pest migration. Pest migration means, say for example, for a particular population of a insect pest species is densely populated in a certain area. After 6 months, if we survey again, these species may not be densely populated. Now the question is where these pests migrated or they died, whatever. Yes, some insects may die, but normally the insects migrate from one place to another area. And how we can know this? By survey. A survey can identify areas of relatively high infestation and may show up seasonal patterns of the occurrence in different locations. Because a survey can identify areas of relatively high infestation. If we survey, we can see where the pest population is densely, where moderately densely, where sparsely or less densely. So all this information indicates the infestation, because infestation is directly related with the number of this pest, number of the insect pest. And again, may show up the seasonal patterns. Seasonal patterns means if we survey the particular insect species for whole year, we can see the winter, summer, rainy season, autumn, etc. Based on different seasons, we can see different number of these species. And how we can know it? By surveying. Occurrence in different locations. Even we can know at different locations the pattern of the particular insect species at different locations. This is also possible by the survey. So all about this survey, is it clear to you? So survey, there are two types of survey. One is called roving survey, another one is called fixed plot survey. Roving survey, what is roving survey? Assessment of the pest population or damage from randomly selected spots representing larger areas. Say for example, if we select a very big area, very large area, and from this area, if we select randomly some spots, and from these spots, if we take the survey, if we make the survey, then this is called roving survey. Larger area surveyed in short period, but how it is possible? Say for example, if we want to survey for a fall armyworm from 64 districts, then how we can do it? From 64 districts, we can select one spot from each district, but this one will be randomly, not biasedly, randomly, or two spots from each district. Otherwise, it is not possible to cover this large area within short period. So this is called roving survey. And fixed plot survey, assessment of the pest population or damage from a fixed plots of a region. Say for example, Mymensingh region, from a certain parts of the BU, if we survey, then this is called fixed plot survey. The data on the pest population or damage recorded periodic from sowing till harvesting. Periodic. Data will be collected from a particular area. So how we can compare among the different times of a period? Say for example, January to December, 12 months. We can compare every month each other. And how long we'll take the data? How long we will make the survey? From the seed sowing to harvesting, or tillering to harvesting. Sorry, planting to harvesting. Eh? So this is called fixed plot survey. Clear? Survey methods of survey, how we can do it. Say for example, this is a rice field, big rice field. Eh? This is called block survey method. Block. Why it is called block? This is a very big plot. This is a very big plot. In 1 acre field, choose 4 blocks, equal blocks. Each and every block is equal. 1 meter length, 1 meter breadth, and 1 square meter in random. That means 1 meter width and 1 meter breadth. 1 square meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. 4 blocks. In each block, select 10 tillers in a random and look for damage. From this block, you will select 10 tillers, but this should be randomly. Similarly, from other blocks, you have to select 10 tillers randomly. Now, you have already selected the blocks, then you have selected the tillers, and you have observed the plants. Now, the result. Grading 1 to 0 to 3 and number of tillers affected. Which number indicates the which grade? Say for example, grade 0. When 0 tillerings or 0 tillers are affected, no tillers are affected, then the grade will be 0. Grade 1 indicates 1 to 5 tillers affected. Out of 10, 1 to 5 tillers affected. Number 2, 5 to 10 tillers affected. 5 to 10 tillers affected. Then number 3, more than 10 tillers. From 4 quadrates, 10 tillers into 4, 40 tillers. Out of 40 tillers, when no tillers affected, then grade is 0. 1 to 5 tillers affected, then grade is 1. 5 to 10 tillers affected, then grade 2. More than 10 tillers affected, then grade 3. So grading, why we call it grading? Because this is an indication or symbol. If you make the graph or if you want to make the map, the grading is important. Or the related person easily can understand from the grade. If we say, what is the grade of the infestation of the rice, green leafhopper? If you say grade 2, then easily I can understand. Out of 40 tillers, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, 10, or that means from 5 to 10 tillers are affected by the rice green leafhopper. Easily I can understand because I am related with this. So similarly, you can easily understand who is related with this method or who knows this method. He can or she can easily understand. Now, next one for the vegetables survey method. This is for the vegetables. In 1 acre field, select 10 points in random. The first one is the quadrant method or the block method because we selected the block. This is point. We can say this point method or whatever. This is a big field of the vegetables. 10 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 spots present. Observe for percent yellow leaves from each plant because you know Jesse suck the cell sap and the leaves resulting they are sucking, the leaves become yellowish at the tip and the yellowing start from the tip because tip is the most succulent part. This part of the leaf, yellowing start from the tip. So leaves from each plant. Observe for percent yellowing leaves for each plant. Grade the pest according to the standards. Then grading go. So spots selected and data have been collected and for is plant based on the yellowing and then you put it standard value. Grade, survey grade. 0% yellowing per plant. কত percent? একটা planter কত percent? How many plants? How many percentage of a plant? And now the question is how you can do it. Percentage yellowing per plant. Say for example, in a plant, there are 5 leaves. Out of 1 leaf, 5, 2 leaves are yellow. So it indicates 40%. When 1 leaf is yellow, then it indicates 20%. So per plant, when there is no yellowing, then it is called healthy, 0 grade. 1, yellowing of 10% leaves. 10% leaves. So 10% leaves infested, then grade 1. Yellowing of 11 to 40% leaves, then grade 2. More than 40% leaves with burned appearance. This is 3. Burned means তোমাদের গাছের পাতার মধ্যে আগুন ধরাই দিলে পুড়ে গেলে যেরকম ঠিক সেরকম ব্রাউন কালার হয়ে যাবে, টোটালি বার্ন। হাউ ডাজ ইট লুক? জাস্ট লাইক দিস। এইখানে দেখো কিছু পার্ট আছে দেখতে অনেকটা এরকম, এই যে এই টিপের এই অংশটা এরকম, এই যে এইটা ইয়েলোইং এর মাঝখানে যেটা, হ্যাঁ, এবং এই ইয়েলোইংটা অনেকটা কিন্তু ভি শেপড ইয়েলোইং হয়, নিয়ার দি লিপ টু ভি শেপড, এই যে ভি শেপড, হ্যাঁ। So now if we say grade 2 for the seeds infestation, you can easily understand what is the percentage of the infestation, 11 to 40%. Clear? This is the way of expression of the survey result. So are you clear about the survey? বুঝতে পারছো সব?
স্যার এটা কি সব সময় গ্রেডিংটা 60 থাকবে?
কোনটা এটা?
মানে স্যার যে মানগুলা যেখানে নির্ধারণ করা হয়েছে এগুলা কি মানে এমনি উদাহরণস্বরূপ দেখানো হয়েছে নাকি?
এই ইনসেক্টের জন্য স্ট্যান্ডার্ড। ক্লিয়ার কিনা?
জি স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
এখন ডিফারেন্ট ইনসেক্টের জন্য ডিফারেন্ট হবে, কারণ তোমার all the symptoms are not similar by done by all insects. Clear?
জি স্যার।
So it varies depending on the insects. Now monitoring. So survey আমরা দেখলাম। monitoring কি? monitoring means using a variety of procedures to regularly observe, measure and record the conditions of insect pest within a given area. কি বলছেন? regularly observe, measure, you will observe, you will measure and record the data. What is the data? Conditions of the insect pest. Conditions means when the infestation starts, when the population incident starts, and what is the initial number, and then how the number is fluctuating, what about the adults, what about the mature, what about the eggs, and so on, etc. All these things. It is a process of routinely gathering information on all aspects of the insect population. All aspects means insect behavior, like the adult, immature, eggs, and the number even. In addition to this, the weather parameter, because weather is very much related with the population of the insect. So it is called all aspects of the insect population. What are the information gathered in the monitoring? Information gathered during the monitoring includes pest populations first and infestation levels. Pest population as well as infestation levels. What is the infestation level? High, medium or low? Then weather parameter, humidity, temperature, light, etc. Crop development and soil condition. Crop development and soil conditions. Crop development means, so what is the stage? Initial stage or growing stage or harvesting stage or pre-harvesting stage. And soil condition means what is the moisture condition and so on. And then population of beneficials. Populations of beneficial organisms. What are the beneficials and how much? And their populations we can also know by monitoring. Clear? So these are the informations is gathered by monitoring. Now objectives of monitoring. Objectives কি? Objectives of monitoring: prediction. তোমরা এইভাবে লিখবা, prediction লিখবা কি? To predict or to লিখবা, to predict and evaluate potential key pest problems and non-target effects. To predict and evaluate. Predict means assume, and evaluate. After their demise, we can evaluate potential key pest problems. What are the main insect pests and non-target effects and their non-target effects. Provides information for choosing and timing appropriate control actions. So if you have monitoring data, you can provide the information for choosing what would be the method and when you have to apply this control method. Evaluate effectiveness of management practice. By monitoring, you can also evaluate the effectiveness. Say, for example, if you want to use one insecticide, effect of one insecticide. By monitoring, you can measure it, you can evaluate it. Establishes a pest history for the specific area. Say, for example, for whole Bangladesh, if someone asks about the rice tempura from 1960 to 2020, we can do it. We can provide this data because we have the monitoring data. We have the monitoring data. So it's a history of the pest. Then types of monitoring. There are two types. One is called field-based monitoring, another one is called fixed position monitoring. Now we'll see the field-based monitoring. Field-based monitoring means when the monitoring is done in a farmer's field, then it is called field-based monitoring. And it is done in different fields, different farmers' fields. Say, for example, out of 64 districts of Bangladesh, if we select one field from each district, and if we do the monitoring from these 64 fields, then this monitoring will be field-based monitoring. And here, the farmers will be involved to work. They will actually do the work. They will do everything. But the scientists or the experts will provide the information. Because the farmers do not know how and which one, what, when the methods will be applied. But the expert knows or the scientist knows what would be the right method and how we have to use and why we have to use and what would be efficacy, etc., etc. But execution part will be done by the farmers. That means the scientist or the expert will provide the information to the farmers, and farmers will execute all these. So predicting this in research terms, field-based monitoring may form the part of a study of pest population ecology. How? Say, for example, all the information regarding the pest is possible to know by the field-based monitoring. But the very interesting thing is that when farmers will execute the information, say, for example, one particular method of pest control, when they will execute, they will also learn by doing. They will learn by doing. Information gained in this way may then be used to produce a practical monitoring strategy on which management practices can be based. So when we have this data, based on this data, we can produce a monitoring strategy on which management practices can be based. And based on that monitoring strategy, we can also apply the management practices. Clear? Field-based monitoring, sequential monitoring is carried out with the objectives of the measuring the way in which pest numbers change over time. Say, for example, from January to February, January to May, these 5 months for the Boro rice field, we want to know a particular pest species. We can easily, by field-based monitoring, we can also know the changes of the particular insect species over this time from January to May. It can be done in different crops for different growth stages and different seasons, and may identify the developmental times. So how long times they need to develop. Mortality of the insects, generation of the insects, pest populations, we can also know. And the conditions which are related with the pest populations, we can also know. The data may be used to determine the rates of the population development, which in turn may be used to produce pest forecast. If we have this data, we can also use this data for the forecasting to the farmers regarding the pest. The damage cost may be related to the levels of the infestation. Damage is related with the infestation, that means vice versa, and used to determine the damage thresholds. Damage threshold means economic thresholds or economic injury level, etc. We can also prepare by field-based monitoring. Field-based monitoring can also be carried out to follow the progress of the population development up to a predefined number of the insects or action threshold. So we can see the progress of the pest population by field-based monitoring. This may be any number of the insects from one and may indicate the insecticide application is necessary, or it may be used in developmental models which predict the most appropriate time to apply insecticide. By monitoring the field-based monitoring, we can know all the aspects of the pest population. Finally, we can prepare a model, pest model, and based on that, we can select the appropriate control measures, appropriate time, appropriate method, and appropriate OS of application. All these things is possible by the field-based monitoring. Now, fixed position monitoring. What is fixed position monitoring? From the name, we can guess. When the monitoring is done from a fixed place, from a fixed position, this is called fixed position monitoring. This is usually done in the research area, research station. Say, for example, Biri, Bari, Bina, etc., etc. They have the head office, they have different regional office, they have stations, substations, whatever. If we consider a certain place of Bina substation, we can collect the data of the pest, regarding the pest, by over a period of time. Usually it is done by traps, say for example a suction trap or light trap, pheromone trap, whatever, or other traps is maintained in a fixed position and is used to sample the insects over a number of seasons and years. Number of seasons means, say for example, if we want to make 5 winter seasons or 5 summer seasons or 10 years or 20 years, whatever, by collecting the pest, all these over these periods or over these seasons, we can have the data of monitoring, and then we can compare. Say for example, from 2000 to 2020, from the Bina head office, if we want to know about the rice bug, we can have the data and we can compare among all these 20 years, in which year it was the most, in which year it was which year it was the peak, and in which year it was moderate, and in which year it was less. So it's a history of the pest. We can prepare the history and we can compare the insect population among the years, among the seasons, from this particular point. The method can be used to identify the pest insects present at a given location. So mind it, the information is originated from a certain location, not from different locations. So if you want to forecast the farmers, you can use this data only for that particular area from where you have done the monitoring. From where you have done the
স্ক্রিনের উপরে একটা সবুজ বক্স চলে এসেছে স্যার।
কোথায়
স্যার স্ক্রিন শেয়ারিং এর উপরে।
এটা
না স্যার, আর একটু নিচে একটা বড় সবুজ বক্স। জি স্যার।
এটা না?
না স্যার, লেখার উপরে চলে এসেছে।
স্যার কোনো লেখা দেখা যাচ্ছে না।
এখন দেখা যাচ্ছে স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
এখন দেখা যাচ্ছে স্যার, দেখা যাচ্ছে?
জি স্যার, এখন ঠিক আছে।
আচ্ছা, তাহলে ফিক্সড পজিশন মনিটরিং আমরা কি বলছি? From a particular position we have these data. So if we want to use this data for forecasting, we can use this data for that particular area where we have done the monitoring. But say for example, we have collected data from Mymensingh. We cannot use this data for the Rajshahi because we have collected this data from the Mymensingh. But for the field-based monitoring, we cover a large area. Say for example, for whole Bangladesh, we can cover it. So we can use this data for the whole Bangladesh. Clear? Even though in the field-based monitoring, we can compare the data among different locations. But in fixed position monitoring, this is not possible. In fixed position monitoring, only we can compare the data among the different times, different seasons, different years. It can provide a general overview of the pest abundance and may be useful if related to the other pest estimates for forecasting outbreaks on a regional basis. So you see, this data is only used in a region, but for the field-based monitoring, this is used for different regions. Clear? Sometimes we make the question differentiate between the field-based and fixed position monitoring. So from this discussion, you have to write this comparison. তোমরা পারবা তো নাকি? ভালো করে পড়বা, পারবা। আর এগুলি ওই যে ডেভিডেন্টের একটা বই আছে। হ্যাঁ
স্যার, ফিক্সড বেস মনিটরিং আর ফিক্সড পজিশন মনিটরিং এর মধ্যে তাহলে স্যার বেসিক পার্থক্যটা একবার বললে একটু ভালো। ফিক্সড বেস
monitoring is done in the farmers field. Fixed position monitoring is done in the research station. In field-based monitoring, all this activity is done by the farmers. The scientists or expert inform the information. But in the fixed position monitoring, usually the scientists or the experts works and they collect the data by using different traps. Field-based monitoring is by field-based monitoring, large area is covered, but fixed position monitoring only a certain area is covered. The data can be used for the big areas in case of field-based monitoring, for forecasting, but the data of the fixed position monitoring is applicable to forecast the small area for a certain area or a certain region. The data can be compared among the different regions in case of field-based monitoring, but in case of fixed position monitoring, all the data can be compared among the different seasons or years and so on, not different regions. Clear? So
Yes,
these
sir.
are the differences.
Thank you.
Now the pest surveillance. So আমরা কি বললাম প্রথমে survey, monitoring and surveillance. Last one is the surveillance. Surveillance refers to an official process which collects and records data on pest occurrence or absence by survey, monitoring or other procedures. So what is surveillance? Pest surveillance refers to an official process which collects and records data on what? On pest occurrence, whether the pest is there or not. Pest occurrence, if it is occurred, if it occurs, then how it occurs, densely or moderately densely or sparsely, or where the insect is absent, whatever. And now the questions, by this way we can know the presence or absence of the particular pest. By how we can know it? By survey we can do it, by monitoring and other procedures if available. So this is called pest surveillance. Objectives of the pest surveillance. Objectives key surveillance. Why we will go for surveillance? To know existing and new pest species. Existence, say for example for the maize, there were some insects present, exist, porboran, aphid, mealybug and so on. But the fall armyworm, this is a new pest. To assess the pest population and damage at different growth stages of the crop. At different stages of the maize growth, what about the fall armyworm? Say for example, what is their population? Big, medium or large? Small. And damage, how much damage? Highly damaged, moderately damaged or low damage? At different growth stages, seedling stage, growing stage, flowering stage, pre-harvesting stage, harvesting stage, etc. etc. To study the influence of weather parameters on pest. Study the influence, how the weather, how we can know it. Say for example, for temperature, we can compare the population size. We can relate the population size with the temperature in a particular area for or for different months or different seasons. To study changing pest status. Pest status means some pest may be major, after a certain period it may be minor, or vice versa. Minor pest can transfer to major pest. To assess the natural enemies and their influence on pest. Natural enemies, what are the natural enemies or beneficial insects present, and their influence on that particular harmful insects. Effect of new cropping pattern and varieties on pest. If we follow the cropping pattern, say for example, rice or rice potato rice, if we do it, what would be the effect of the rice potato rice on the particular insect pest? And the varieties, we are using different varieties, new varieties, and is there an effect of these particular new varieties on the pest species or not? We can also know by surveillance. Clear?
স্যার পেস্ট আর সার্ভেইলেন্স আর মনিটরিং এর মধ্যে তাহলে পার্থক্যটা কি?
ওরে আল্লাহ, তুমি এখনো তাহলে কিছুই বুঝতে পারো না মনে হইতেছে।
তার মানে কাছাকাছি অনেকটা।
কাছাকাছি, yes, কাছাকাছি। Surveillance is done by survey to collect the data for a particular time, particular period. Monitoring, this is regular observation, and how you will observe? Only observe? No, you will collect the data by different means and you will record it. This is monitoring. And surveillance collect the data and records the data regarding the occurrence and absence of the pest by survey, monitoring and other procedures. This is surveillance. Clear?
জি স্যার।
Clear? There are two types of surveillance. One is called general surveillance. Second one is the specific surveillance. General surveillance process whereby information on particular pest which is of concern for an area is gathered from many sources. Wherever it is available and provided for use by NPPOS, National Plant Protection Organizations. কি বলছেন? Process. This is a process whereby information on particular pest, say for example rice bug, which is concern of for an area. If this rice bug is concerned, that means if it is devastating, then it will be concerned. Is gathered from many sources. About the rice bug, we can collect the data from many sources: primary source, secondary source, tertiary source, and so on, by different ways. Wherever it is available, and provided for use by the NPPO, National Plant Protection Organization. Why? Based on these data, they can suggest which method would be applicable to control this pest, and when, how, etc., etc. Specific surveillance procedures by which NPPOs obtain information on pest of concern on the specific sites, not different sites. This is done only from the specific sites in an area over a defined period of time. Say, for example, from January to July, this is a defined period, specific sites of an area. Say, for example, Greater Mymensingh, you will select the Jamalpur. So Jamalpur is the site and Greater Mymensingh is the area. So from this area, from one site, when we have this data, then this is called specific surveillance. Clear? তুই যাতে দে তো প্রসেস করে প্রসেস করে দিতে আচ্ছা, এই জিনিসটা কেন আসে? আচ্ছা, এখন হলো কি তোমার, তাহলে আমরা দুই ধরনের সার্ভিলেন্স দেখলাম, তাই না? And how this surveillance occurs, or how this surveillance is done at Upazila level. Say, for example, at Upazila level, usually block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 blocks are selected. Block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 blocks for the surveillance. And from every Upazila, 5 blocks are selected. And who will work? Weekly monitoring will be done from this area regarding the pest or disease, whatever, by SAAO, Sub-Assistant Agriculture Officer, or SAPPO, Sub-Assistant Plant Protection Officer, or Agriculture Officer. They are involved to monitor these blocks. And then they will prepare, they will collect the data, and they will report to the Upazila. All these people will work and they will make a report and they will submit it to the Upazila. And this Upazila Agriculture Officer compile this report, and he will send it to the district level. And the district level officer will send it to the regional office. Say, for example, Mymensingh is a region, Joshua is a region, Rajshahi is a region. Similarly, then regional office will send this data to the head office. Necessary action taken by the plant protection wing, PP wing, means plant protection wing. So the regional office will send it to the plant protection wing, and they will take the necessary action. This is a flow chart of the pest surveillance. Now the forecasting. তাহলে আমরা কি বললাম? সার্ভে, monitoring and surveillance. Now the forecasting. What is forecasting? To forewarn the farmers to take up timely crop protection measures is the forecasting. To forewarn means to inform the farmers while ahead. Please, this pest is coming, or this pest is available in your field. Take these actions. This would be the dose, or this would be the way of application. And afterwards, second time you have to apply this. And like this. Forecasting of the pest incidence. Forecasting of the pest incidence or the outbreak based on the information obtained from the pest surveillance. So how we will forecast? Based on the information collected by the surveillance. So based on the surveillance data, we can forecast the farmers. So what is the use of the forecast? Predicting pest outbreak. You can predict when the pest will outbreak, which needs control measures, and how you can control it. Suitable stage at which control measures gives maximum protection. We can use one method at different growth stage of the populations, but at what stage it will be more or most effective. we can use the forecasting for this. Forecasting methods are classified according to whether they are based on the threshold counts or physiological time, predictive models, or geographic information system. Forecast methods are classified বিভিন্নভাবে ভাগ করা হয় কিভাবে according to whether they are based on the threshold counts মানে pest population thresholds level এর ভিত্তিতে এটা করা হয়েছে কিনা physiological time means the pest the period of time by which the pest grow become adult to become adult the time which is essential this is called physiological time. Predictive models means we can prepare some models and based on these models we can forecast the farmers. Or geographical information system or GIS we can use. By GIS we can also forecast. So there are two types of forecasting. One is called short-term forecasting, another one is called long-term forecasting. Short-term is based on 1 to 2 seasons. Based on effect of weather parameters on pest. সেটা হলো long-term. As a pest forecasting, the forecasting of pest incidents or outbreak based on the information obtained from pest surveillance. The pest surveillance ভিত্তিক pest forecasting করে থাকে। কেন কিভাবে বলবো যে predicting pest outbreak which dates the control measures are suitable stage at which control measures gives protection এটা আমি বলছি তোমাদেরকে শর্ট টার্ম এবং লং টার্মের মধ্যে পার্থক্য এখানে একটু বলে দেওয়া আছে কি কি ছোটখাটো জিনিস আচ্ছা এইটা হলো আমাদের দেশে in Bangladesh how the forecasting is done forecasting system how does it runs it starts from the upazila level agriculture extension upazila extension officer উপজেলা